ABC's Jonathan Karl, who will be hosting This Week later today. And John, I want to start exactly where Mary Alice left off. How do you see this trial impacting the presidential race with Trump in the courtroom and Biden on the campaign trail?
Well, look, I think we don't really know fully how this is going to impact the campaign because we don't know the effect it's going to have on Trump's psyche and on his behavior. I mean, he has to be in that courtroom 4 days a week. Court's not in session on Wednesday, but 4 days a week, hour after hour, unable to leave. His only real moments to take advantage of the attention is during those breaks or before or after when he can go to that camera in the courthouse. What I expect, Shanae, is he's going to use that to go on the attack, I think, with increasing vigor on Biden and on his political enemies. But it's a very strange scene to see politics playing out literally inside a courthouse.
It is fascinating, John. And to that point, because you would think, like, Trump, he is stuck in the courtroom. He is not in control. However, he is at the top of the news cycle. So he is still top of mind for so many of us as this is going on. All right, turning to Congress now. The foreign aid package finally approved by the House. Hard right Republicans putting pressure on Speaker Johnson. He had to rely on Democrats who rescued the bill. How is this all breaking down for him?
First of all, take note of what an amazing moment this was in the House of Representatives. Funding for Ukraine and the other measures approved overwhelmingly. I mean, this was an overwhelming bipartisan show of support, yet it took months and months to happen, and the Speaker of the House may lose his job as a result. I think that you have a new dynamic in the House of Representatives where Johnson, to keep his job, is going to have to do what he did with Ukraine, which is rely on the support of Democrats. I don't really think we can fully appreciate what that means going forward because he is no longer really entirely the Republican Speaker of the House. Yesterday, at least, he was the Speaker of the House.
Well, and that is something that we certainly haven't seen a ton. But, I mean, if it comes down to it, Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that he needs to be ousted, she says she's getting other Republicans on her side, he could have to rely on Democrats to keep his job, ultimately.
I mean, look, there's no doubt of that because, you know, she has only 3 people that have signed on. But Johnson can only afford to lose a single vote if it comes to a vote on removal. So at this point, he is going to have to rely on Democrats. Right now, Democrats are giving him high marks. They appreciate what he did in defying his party. And we've heard from Hakeem Jeffries on down words of appreciation for the Republican Speaker of the House. Even Nancy Pelosi, you heard, say that she trusts Speaker Johnson, at least right now. So he's going to need that. He's going to need that trust. And again, I think that changes the dynamic in the House.
A fascinating way that we have seen the bipartisanship coming to fruition on Capitol Hill. John, real quick, while we have you, you have a sit down with retired Supreme Court Justice Breyer. How was that, him talking about the current state of the Supreme Court?
Well, look, we had Breyer right here in the studio with us. I think a first for a sitting a former Supreme Court justice. He has some very interesting thoughts about politics and the court.
Very interesting. That's quite a tease, John. We are going to be tuning in for that. Thank you. And make sure to tune into This Week Later. John speaks with 2 key House members after the critical votes on foreign aid, Republican Mike McCall and Democrat Ro Khanna. Plus, as we just discussed, John sits down with retired Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer to discuss the changing court and his new book. Very interesting perspective, all coming up on This Week.